The film begins in a rugged Middle Eastern landscape, where a bearded man, later identified as the protagonist, played by Vincent Gallo, is hiding among rocky cliffs. He is dressed in traditional garb, blending into the surroundings. Suddenly, a group of heavily armed American soldiers arrives in the area, scanning the terrain for any signs of hostiles. Drones fly overhead, and the atmosphere is tense. As the soldiers move closer, the protagonist panics and attacks them, killing 3 American troops with a hidden weapon. Before he can escape, an airstrike nearly kills him, and he is captured by the surviving soldiers. The next sequence follows his brutal interrogation in a U.S. military facility, where he is stripped, tortured, and force-fed information. However, he refuses to speak, remaining silent throughout the ordeal. The protagonist is shackled, blindfolded, and placed aboard a military aircraft. The location of the facility is unclear, but it is heavily guarded, and snow-capped mountains suggest they have been transported to a cold Eastern European country. Upon arrival, he is transferred into an armored transport vehicle alongside other prisoners, all in orange jumpsuits. The convoy moves through a dense forest, covered in deep snow. As the convoy navigates the treacherous roads, a deer suddenly jumps onto the icy path, causing the lead vehicle to crash into a tree. The protagonist takes advantage of the chaos. When the guards step out to assess the situation, he manages to break free, slipping out of his restraints and grabbing a rifle from one of the dead soldiers. He flees into the vast, snow-covered wilderness, pursued by helicopters and ground troops. The landscape is brutal. Frozen lakes, thick forests, and punishing winds make survival nearly impossible. The protagonist, still in his orange jumpsuit, knows that he will be spotted easily. He strips off the jumpsuit and finds camouflage in the thick undergrowth. With no food or water, he is forced to consume whatever he can find. At one point, he kills a wild animal and eats raw meat to survive. He stumbles upon an abandoned barn where he finds old clothes and boots to protect himself from the cold. The film intensifies as he evades helicopters and military search teams, constantly on the run. His determination and animalistic survival instincts push him forward, but his body begins to fail him due to hunger, frostbite, and exhaustion. During his escape, he comes across several civilians. In one tense scene, he sneaks into a small village and breaks into a house to steal food. He encounters a deaf woman who does not scream or alert anyone. Instead, she watches him silently as he eats. Their brief exchange is filled with unspoken understanding as she realizes he is a desperate man. She offers him milk, and he drinks it before slipping away unnoticed. In another harrowing moment, he is discovered by a group of hunters who assume he is a common thief. Despite his best efforts, the military closes in on him. Dogs track his scent, helicopters scan the terrain, and armed patrols surround the forests. We see him push himself to the limit, navigating through frozen rivers, climbing steep cliffs, and hiding in snow-covered trenches. As his body weakens, he begins to hallucinate, seeing images of his past. Flashbacks suggest that he may have had a family, perhaps a wife and child, but their fate remains unclear. The hallucinations also hint at his ideological struggle, though the film avoids making political statements, focusing instead on his primal fight for survival. By the film's final moments, the protagonist is near death. He stumbles across a cabin in the wilderness, where he finds warmth and a moment of respite. However, his journey has taken an irreversible toll on his body. His hands shake from frostbite, his breathing is ragged, and his vision blurs. He collapses into the snow, staring up at the gray sky. The final shot is haunting. His eyes slowly close as the screen fades to black, leaving his fate ambiguous. Did he survive? Was he captured? Or did he succumb to the elements? The film offers no answers, reinforcing its central theme. In the face of survival, ideology, identity, and past transgressions cease to matter. All that remains is the instinct to keep moving forward. Essential Killing is a brutal, thought-provoking film that strips down survival cinema to its rawest form. With almost no dialogue, it tells its story through stunning cinematography, relentless pacing, and an intense central performance by Vincent Gallo. The film is not about politics or morality. It is about a man pushed beyond his limits, forced to embrace his most primal instincts. This recap captures every major event of the film while maintaining its deeply immersive, harrowing tone. For fans of survival thrillers, Essential Killing stands as a gripping testament to the sheer will to live, even when the odds are insurmountable.